Dallas Wings trade DiJonai Carrington to Lynx. Full trade breakdown reaction, WNBA 2025. Blockbuster changes rarely come quietly in the world of professional basketball. And this latest move from the Dallas Wings is no exception. DiJonai Carrington is officially headed to the Minnesota Lynx. If you thought this was just another routine trade, think again. There's a lot more going on beneath the surface, and some fans might find themselves divided on which team really came out on top. Announced on August 3, 2025, both teams confirmed that the Wings are sending Carrington north in exchange for several key assets. Dallas receives the dynamic third-year forward Diamond Miller, experienced seventh-year guard Karlie Samuelson, and an important piece for the future, Minnesota's 2027 second-round WNBA draft pick. But here's where it gets controversial. To clear space for these new players, the Wings made the tough decision to waive Teaira McCowan, a player who has etched her name into their record books. So what does this trade really mean for both squads? Let's break it down. Diamond Miller, who entered the league as the number 2 overall pick in 2023, quickly established herself as a force, making the WNBA all-rookie team in her first season. She ended her debut year ranking second among all rookies in scoring, 12.1 points per game, fifth in rebounds, 3.5, and second in assists, 2.5, a rare combination of skills for a 6'3" forward. Fast forward to 2025, and Miller's game has leveled up. She now leads all forwards in three-point accuracy, sinking an incredible 53.8% of her shots from beyond the arc. Even though her scoring this season sits at 4.1 points per game, her overall shooting percentage is a solid .476, and she's seen action in 25 games, showing her value extends far beyond points alone. And this is the part most people miss. Miller's college tenure at the University of Maryland was nothing short of remarkable. As a 3-time All-Big Ten selection and a first-team All-American, she averaged nearly 20 points and over 6 rebounds in her senior year. Just imagine her potential fit with the Wings' existing roster. Let's not overlook Karlie Samuelson either. Despite being limited to 16 games this year after a foot injury and surgery, the veteran guard brings proven experience and a versatile skill set. A Stanford graduate who recently moved to Minnesota from the Washington Mystics, Samuelson has played in 121 WNBA games, maintaining career averages of 5.3 points, 2.0 rebounds, and strong shooting splits, 411 from the field, 392 from 3. If she returns to form, her ability to stretch the floor and offer veteran leadership could be an underrated asset for Dallas. On the flip side, Minnesota welcomes DiJonai Carrington. Acquired by Dallas just this past February in a 4-team deal, Carrington has quickly become a reliable starter, putting up 10.4 points, 5.1 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and 1.1 steals over 20 games this season. The Lynx are betting on her continued growth and energy on both ends of the floor. Will this be the spark Minnesota needs to push deeper in the playoffs? But perhaps the biggest shock for Wings fans is the team's decision to let go of Teaira McCowan. Since joining Dallas from Indiana in 2022, McCowan has been a consistent presence, reliably scoring in double digits and grabbing at least 7 boards per game in almost every season of her career. Known for her dominance in the paint, she ranks high in franchise history for rebounds and blocks. And her .570 field goal percentage as a wing remains the best in team history. Yet in 2025, injuries and a dip in production, just 5.6 points and 4.6 rebounds over 17 games may have made her expendable. Is this a calculated risk by the Wings, or a move they might regret? The official details of this trade. Dallas Wings receive Diamond Miller, Karlie Samuelson, and Minnesota's 2027 second-round draft pick. Dallas Wings waive Teaira McCowan. Minnesota Lynx acquire DiJonai Carrington. Big-name moves like this almost always stir up debate. Was this the right decision for Dallas to build for the future? Or did they give up on McCowan and Carrington too soon? Did Minnesota give away too much young talent to get Carrington? Let's get the conversation started. Do you think your team came out ahead? Or are we about to see this trade tip the balance of power in the WNBA? Sound off with your thoughts below, especially if you have a hot take. Lynx shock trade for DiJonai Carrington, WNBA defense upgrade. WNBA analysis 2025. The Lynx's bold move, a game-changing trade for DiJonai Carrington. Just when you thought the Minnesota Lynx couldn't possibly surprise fans any further, they've made a significant trade that could shift the dynamics of their roster. On Monday, Michael Rand shared insights on this unexpected acquisition as part of his column on 10 essential details to note. The Minnesota Star-Tribune reported the details of the trade on August 4, 2025, at 4:36 p.m. With the addition of guard DiJonai Carrington, the Lynx bolster their lineup with another prominent veteran player. Let's break down the details of this surprising deal. Space. Guard DiJonai Carrington. What Dallas received: forward Diamond Miller, guard Karlie Samuelson, and a second-round draft pick in 2027. By bringing in Carrington, the Lynx have secured one of the WNBA's elite defensive guards. Having been named to the league's all-defensive first team in 2024 while playing for the Connecticut Sun, she also enjoyed a remarkable season by being honored as the WNBA's most improved player. Notably, Carrington had been starting her journey with the Dallas Wings, a team currently in a rebuilding phase, prior to this trade. This trade stands out primarily because many anticipated the Lynx would focus on acquiring a post player, especially after losing their bid for free agent Emma Meesseman, who ultimately signed with the competitive New York team. While the Lynx presently don't show any glaring weaknesses in their performance, boasting the top position in the WNBA for both average points scored per game and the fewest points allowed, there are moments when they struggle defensively. Those struggles often trigger frustration from their head coach, Cheryl Reeve. Carrington's presence is expected to be tremendously beneficial, especially when the postseason arrives, as each possession carries heightened importance. On the offensive front, however, it's worth mentioning that Carrington's game has its limitations. She has a career shooting percentage of only 39.4% from the field. But with the Lynx roster filled with capable scorers, they should be perfectly positioned to balance out any inefficiencies during games when Carrington is on the floor. So here's the compelling question. Are the Lynx making the right call by focusing on defense when they could have sought a more impactful offensive addition? Or do you believe the trade aligns perfectly with their strategy for a deeper playoff run? Share your thoughts. 5 things to know about Karlie Samuelson, Dallas Wings' new guard. The Dallas Wings have just made a bold move that could reshape their season and their future. On Sunday, the team traded DiJonai Carrington, a high-profile off-season acquisition, to the Minnesota Lynx in the midst of a challenging year. In exchange, the Wings welcomed guard Karlie Samuelson, forward Diamond Miller, and a 2027 second-round draft pick from Minnesota. But here's where it gets interesting. Samuelson, a 7-year WNBA veteran, is currently recovering from a left foot injury she sustained in June and won't be returning to the court this season. So why the trade? Let's dive into 5 key things you need to know about Karlie Samuelson, the Wings' newest guard. 1. The basics. Karlie Samuelson is a 6-foot guard born on May 10, 1995 in Fullerton, California. She honed her skills at Stanford University before entering the WNBA as an undrafted free agent. At 30 years old, She brings a wealth of experience to the Wings, even if she won't be suiting up until next season. 2. A familiar face in Dallas. Believe it or not, this isn't Samuelson's first time wearing a Wings jersey. Back in 2019, she had a brief stint with the team, playing in just 4 games and averaging 1.5 points per game. Her impact was minimal, and she was waived before the 2020 season began. But sometimes, second chances are everything. After leaving Dallas, Samuelson took a year off from the WNBA before returning in 2021 with the Los Angeles Sparks. Now, she's back in North Texas, and this time, she's got a lot more to prove. 3. A journeywoman's tale. Samuelson's WNBA career hasn't been a straight path to stardom. After struggling to find her footing early on, she's bounced around the league, playing for 5 different teams in the last 5 years. Her best season came in 2023 with the Sparks, where she started 23 games, averaged 7.7 points per game, and shot an impressive 42.6% from three-point range. Interestingly, her coach that year was Curt Miller, who is now the general manager of the Wings. Could this reunion be the key to unlocking her full potential? 4. A sharpshooter on the court. If there's one thing Samuelson is known for, it's her elite three-point shooting. She's a career 39.2% shooter from beyond the arc, ranking 21st in WNBA history, just behind the legends like Sue Bird and Elena Delle Donne. In 2023, she shot an astonishing 42.6% from 3, placing her 6th in the league. And it's not just from deep. She's also a career 92% shooter from the free throw line. When Samuelson returns to the court, she could be a game changer for the Wings offense. 5. Basketball runs in the family. Karlie isn't the only Samuelson making waves in the WNBA. Her younger sister, Katie Lou Samuelson, was a first-round draft pick in 2019 and has played for several teams, including a brief stint with the Wings in 2020. Both sisters have had to navigate the challenges of finding consistency in the league, but their shared passion for the game is undeniable. The big question, was this trade worth it? The Wings gave up a splashy offseason addition in Carrington, but in return, they've acquired a veteran sharpshooter in Samuelson, a promising young forward in Miller, and a future draft pick. However, with Samuelson sidelined for the rest of the season, some fans might wonder if the trade was worth it. What do you think? Was this a smart move for the Wings? Or did they give up too much for a player who won't see the court this year? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.